Welcome to another episode of the History of Twisted Metal. Last time we covered the history of the game that started it all, the original Twisted Metal, and one of my favorite characters in the series, Mr. Grimm, the Reaper of Souls, coming in many forms, from the personification of death itself, to a skeletal pirate captain, a murderous gang member seeking to restore his father back to life, to a crazed cannibal war veteran. Today we'll be exploring the history of the most iconic Twisted Metal driver, Sweet Tooth, the insane killer clown. But this video will be bigger than just Sweet Tooth. To understand him, we also have to dive into the characters in the series he's directly tied to by blood, his connection to the Kane family, and the multiple vehicles involved. What makes Sweet Tooth tick? What's his connection to a homeless man losing his mind? And what makes an ice cream truck driving clown stalk his victims from dusk into the AM? Which just so happens to be the name of today's sponsor, Into the AM. If you know me, you know I hate wearing regular adult clothing. You're never going to see me in a plaid button-up shirt unless someone made me wear it for a special occasion, and chances are I'm upset about it. Your clothing should say something about you, express your personality, that fun side that's hidden inside all of us. I like my clothing bright and colorful, creative. Since 2012, Into the AM has been nailing that look and feel with premium apparel covered in unique designs. The shirts are buttery soft, they're shrink resistant, and one of the most important factors to me are how thin and breathable they are, especially with how hot it gets here in Florida. The shirts aren't made of that cheap thick cotton that's found at so many retail outlets. Here's a quick fashion show for some of Into the AM's latest selections. This is easily my favorite one, Digital Space. It's got that retro look, and it actually resembles my channel's aesthetic quite a bit, which is why I picked it. It's right up my alley. Little spaceship flying around, a retro sun, laser grid on the bottom, absolutely beautiful. Death Weaver with an octopus kraken-like beast holding a couple skulls for a very bright aquatic look. Sherbet Shores, a very 1980s-like mountainous sunset. For a more futuristic vibe, Upload, featuring a cybernetic astronaut hooked up to electronics. Into the AM was kind enough to send me a pair of their comfort shorts. I can't express enough the value of a comfortable pair of shorts. See, even the dog likes them. Whether you're lounging around the house or using them for the gym, they feel great and stretchy without feeling loose or cheap. And something many people don't think about, it's also really convenient that they have a back pocket with a zipper, and it also has an additional zipper on one of the side pockets. It's a great pair of shorts, what can I say? Right now, Into the AM's running some great deals, so don't miss out. Not only do you get some cool merch and a discount by supporting Into the AM with the link below, you also support this channel and its content. So let me know in the comments which designs are your favorite, which ones are you going to snag. And now back to the history of Twisted Metal, Sweet Tooth and the Canes.
One night I called, and he answered. And after I got him to carve me, I killed him. Marcus doesn't live here anymore.
Please no! Marcus, wait!
Shut up and bleed, you motherfucker.
As mentioned in my previous Mr. Grimm video, aside from Twisted Metal 1 and 2, and some opinions include Twisted Metal Head-On, most of the games are standalone universes not really connected to one another, yet they share some similar story beats across its multiverse. Sweet Tooth's most recognizable appearance, a thick, strong man with a clown mask, a head permanently set on fire, and a love for incredible violence and mayhem. This look is what most consider the classic Sweet Tooth look. Popularized in Twisted Metal Black and used consistently since then, but he's had many drastically different appearances, with his original look being more inspired by the Joker, a somewhat slim clown with green hair, and his ice cream truck was actually designed before the insane clown that would drive it.
I love this old heap. She's always there for me. Seems almost as eager as I am to show her stuff. Show everyone what a great team we are. Besides all that, she still makes the best ice cream around. Not a lot of people know that. Guess most people never bother to ask.
Although most people naturally refer to the driver as Sweet Tooth, his vehicle also goes by that name, and his actual real name is Needles Kane. For the purpose of this video, we'll alternate between the name Sweet Tooth and Needles Kane, the same character. With the popularity of Twisted Metal upon release, and even more successful Twisted Metal 2, where Sweet Tooth's iconic fiery head was born, he became the face of the series and one of the PlayStation's most iconic mascots. He's appeared in every single Twisted Metal game, and even outside the series and many other titles, completely unrelated to Twisted Metal. the monster Agamo in War of the Monsters. Really cool PS2 kaiju game. He's got a secret Sweet Tooth skin since both have flaming heads. Sweet Tooth was also considered for Mortal Kombat 9 by Mortal Kombat co-creator Ed Boon, but instead another David Jaffe PlayStation character, Kratos, made the cut.
Such sweet, cold perfection, a round ball of heaven balanced on a delicate cone, so pleasing to the senses. Who doesn't love an ice cream cone? Pretty neat trick there, pal. Let's see if I can match it.
Another creature sent by a so-called god. Leave, or join those who have come before you.
Well, get a load of you, Cupcake. You know, I worked real hard on that ice cream cone, real hard. Dunno if you got any money in that skirt of yours, but one way or the other, you're paying for it.
His ice cream truck appeared in Rocket League, and of course he was one of the many fighters involved in PlayStation All-Stars. No other Twisted Metal drivers matches the legacy left by the beloved Sweet Tooth.
All these stories seem to go the same way. Me against the world, and me the winner. They all learn sooner or later they got more than they bargained for. Did some real damage back there. Still, can't say I didn't miss my old truck. Yeah, there she is, faithful as ever. She was already the best thing on wheels before any of this. But wait till Calypso gets a load of my new upgrades. Oh man, he's never gonna know what hit him. Sweet Tooth is back, baby. Bigger than ever.
In fact, he was so recognizable that some companies even tried to pocket some money from Sony for his appearance. In 2005, Sony was taken to court by Frosty Treats Inc. They claimed Sweet Tooth infringed on their trademark for Safety Clown. Safety Clown is a set of safety decals on ice cream trucks that directed children away from ice cream truck traffic. In the words of Frosty Treats CEO Carl Long, "They don't look the same way, but if the Safety Clown had a brother who was nasty and mean, it would look somewhat like Sweet Tooth." Of course, the lawsuit was completely ridiculous, and the US Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit threw out the claim. Sweet Tooth was safe to continue his path of chaos and destruction. In more modern times, he's been making his live-action series debut, played by Samoa Joe and voiced by Will Arnett. Fantastic representation of the character. His first in-game appearance, the original 1995 Twisted Metal. It's Christmas Eve 2005, and deep below the streets of Los Angeles, the demented Calypso waits patiently. His Twisted Metal competition rages above, plunging the city into chaos, while a dozen drivers compete and kill to attain their deepest desires. Needles Kane enters the contest. He's described as an escaped mental patient that dressed like a clown and stole an ice cream truck. He customized it and mounted a napalm cone launcher on the roof. His main desire is to win Twisted Metal and wish for the one thing that means more to him than anything else in the world: his best friend. In the end, Sweet Tooth faces off against the demonic Minion, the winner of the previous tournament. And if he becomes the winner of Twisted Metal, he wishes for a paper bag that he believes is his best friend. Crazy Harold, the wacky lunch sack. Then he drives off into the LA night where he can live a happy life with his bag. Aside from the lame text-only endings in the official release, in his lost live-action ending, which were all cut from the game, Sweet Tooth still wishes for the bag, but he takes his need for violence a step further while holding a victim hostage.
Congratulations! You have won my contest. Welcome to my home. As you know, Mr. Kane, you are now able to claim any prize you request.
You just don't know. You don't know what it was like for me. And I, and you, and them. You don't know!
Look, I'm a bit confused, Mr. Kane. You do understand, by winning High Octane, you are entitled to any request of any value. And yet, you asked me for this?
Oh man, give me that! Gimme!
A paperback? You can't be serious.
Oh, man. Down! Down! You get down the street! You said it would be easy. Do you know what they did? Do you? Now it's my turn. It's my world. It's my word. It's my turn. It's my day. Boo. Cuckoo.
Young lady, I owe you a debt of gratitude. You are welcome to stay in my realm for as long as you desire.
You guys are both sick. I'm getting out of here, and I'm taking your truck.
But Sweet Tooth's story in the original Twisted Metal doesn't end with Needles Kane. A man named Charlie Kane also enters the contest. He drives a cab from New York known as Yellow Jacket and uses Molotov cocktails as his special weapon of choice. Charlie Kane is described as an old and lonely cab driver that has entered Twisted Metal in order to learn what happened to his son, a young man that vanished 20 years ago. And it's no coincidence that his last name is also Kane. If Charlie wins the contest, he learns that Needles, the driver of Sweet Tooth, was his son, and a prolific serial killer, and Charlie Kane killed him during the tournament. After learning of his son's fate, he speeds off into the LA night, filled with feelings of anguish and regret. In his Lost FMV ending, Charlie Kane also learns of his son, and he finds a new job opportunity.
As you are the winner of this contest, I have agreed to grant any request you ask for. And yet, you've asked for nothing.
Well, Well, actually, sir, I really wanted just another chance to drive.
My God, you killed everyone. You suddenly don't drive like a man who has nothing to gain. And the way you took out your own son. That was one of the best kills I've seen in the last 10 years. It's hard to believe you're really the father of that psychotic clown in the ice cream truck. Your driving skills are vastly superior. Come now, Mr. Kane. You must want something.
Soon, as you can probably tell, I'm gonna pass along. I just wanted one more shot.
What if I told you there was no need to move on? No need to ever die?
What do you mean?
I have many abilities, Mr. Kane. Many powers.
You are a lucky man.
Well, just a second. I don't want this.
Please, Mr. Kane. What have you got to lose? Trust me.
Oh, that's strange. It tastes like...
Mr. Kane, the world is now your oyster. I need a driver. Someone to travel the world and search for new drivers for each year's competition. You'll never die. And you'll drive forever. What do you say, Mr. Kane?
Sounds good to me, baby.
During the events of Twisted Metal 2, Calypso needs a new arena for the following tournament, since Los Angeles was completely destroyed. The new arena, the world. And Charlie Kane returns as a non-playable final boss character in Hong Kong, enjoying his new position. This time he's driven by revenge, furious at you, the player, for killing his son during the contest. He states, "You killed my son. I want my little clown boy back." Of course, this doesn't make sense if you're playing as Sweet Tooth, but regardless, Charlie Kane does return, leaving his yellow jacket taxi behind for the enormous Dark Tooth, a variation of the Sweet Tooth truck but much larger and capable of destroying small vehicles by simply running them over. It uses napalm missiles as standard machine gun style weapons, and once Dark Tooth is destroyed, the flaming head on top becomes the new enemy. Sweet Tooth also joins the ranks of Twisted Metal 2 drivers as a hidden character, this time with his iconic flaming head and a darker, more serious attitude. His bio reads, "My first home was the circus, my second was the State Institute. My next home will be yours. I will be the man who hides under your bed, in your closet, in your mind. When I win, you'll never be too far from me." If Sweet Tooth destroys Dark Tooth and wins Twisted Metal 2, he meets Calypso in his New York City headquarters, and keeps his threat to always be nearby.
Sweet Tooth, winner of the Twisted Metal contest, was granted an audience with the founder of the competition. I had agreed to grant the winner any prize they requested. There would be no limits on price, size, or in this case, even reality. Sweet Tooth told me he wanted to live out his greatest fantasy, to become a bug in a tiny little garden out in the country. It would be a life of relaxation and love, a life of peace, a final escape from his madness. The night sky exploded with light. And when the light faded, Sweet Tooth had gotten his wish. For the rest of his days, he enjoyed his new life in the garden, away from all those who would tell him he was crazy. The other insects were not fans of their new neighbor, for he had a tendency to kill them. Oh, but Sweet Tooth was happy, and whenever he got lonely for human companionship, or for human flesh, all he had to do was look up and dream of the day when he would crawl out of the garden and back into the world of man. I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal 2 introduces yet another mysterious member of the Kane bloodline, aside from Charlie and Needles Kane, a homeless man called Marcus Kane. His connection to the Kanes isn't quite clear just yet, but he is a man living on the brink of insanity. He's entirely convinced that the world isn't real. It's all just a nightmare that he needs to awaken from, and he's aware of the player controlling his actions. His bio is aimed at you, the person holding the controller. "I know the truth, you freak. You sit back in your living room with your little video game console and play. But I know what's happening. I can see you. They think I'm crazy, but you'll find out I'm the only one who's sane." He enters Twisted Metal 2 with his vehicle Roadkill, armed with the Boomerang Blast, a destructive missile that curves back towards his car. If he wins the tournament, he awakens to find himself in a hospital with the other contestants, strangely with the exception of Sweet Tooth.
The driver of Roadkill, a man named Marcus Kane, stepped out of his car and came face to face with me, the creator of Twisted Metal.
They all call me crazy. They all say I'm insane. But I'm not. I know this isn't real. None of it is. I know it's all a dream. Please, Calypso, help me.
Oh, Marcus, I always knew you would be the one to figure it out. I will grant your wish, but please, feel free to come back and visit us any time. Well, the rest of your friends will be here for quite a while.
Doctor, he's awake.
Good God, son, you're alive. Well, you were in a 25-car pileup on the freeway. It's a wonder you've come back to us at all. The rest are still in comas.
These people, they all look so familiar. I've seen them before, fought them before. But where? I can't remember.
Daddy!
Oh my God! My family! You're here! I'm back! Everything's gonna be all right. I promise.
In the actual loose continuation of the story after Twisted Metal 2, Twisted Metal Head-On, Needles Kane and Marcus Kane both return in their respective vehicles, Sweet Tooth and Roadkill. Sweet Tooth has competed in every version of the Twisted Metal tournament, and he's getting sick of being a simple contestant. After entering this time, he decides to change his role. It was his time to rule. In the final battle of Head On, the final boss Darktooth appears again in a massive ice cream truck, with a mysterious unknown driver behind the wheel. After Darktooth's destruction, the true final threat appears before Sweet Tooth gets his wish. A mechanical monstrosity equipped with a flamethrower and a powerful lightning storm, hidden underneath an ice cream shop. Tower Tooth.
Oh well, I guess we'll have to clean that up later. Now then, about your prize, Needles Kane, what is your wish?
You know, Calypso, I've been looking at this face for a long time. I think it's time for a change.
That's your wish? You want a facelift?
Not quite. We've been doing this a long time, haven't we? You hold a twisted metal, I kill and destroy for you. I make a wish, you continue to sit on your throne, surrounded by your guards and women. I think you've had enough fun for a while.
Nobody makes you compete, Needles.
Right, of course not. Not at all.
Make your wish and claim your prize already. I have things to do that don't involve you.
Okay, pal of mine. I wish that you become me, and I become you.
Are you insane? I won't grant that wish.
I don't think you have a choice, Sunshine.
You see, what I say goes. This is impossible. Guards, kill the intruder!
Ooh, good idea. Do that. Looks like we've got two bodies to clean up now. Guards? and where did my women go?
Marcus Kane is still a man on the run from his nightmares, lost in his own mind. It's finally revealed that his mental illness is real. Marcus Kane is the split personality of Needles Kane. They're one and the same. When Marcus is asleep, Sweet Tooth's awake, and vice versa. But Marcus is completely unaware of it. The dreams he's been having of participating in Twisted Metal are actually the real memories of Sweet Tooth. And Calypso has been using his dark powers to keep it all suppressed to continue having another driver for the tournament. The nightmares have been getting worse, and Marcus was determined to end them once and for all. His final attempt to awaken in the real world. One day he awoke and saw his roadkill vehicle waiting outside for him, as if it were calling to him. He got into his vehicle and entered the contest. If Marcus Kane wins, he seeks answers from Calypso.
Congratulations. You've won this year's Twisted Metal. You may claim your prize.
I know none of this is real. Is it?
Twisted Metal is as real as you want it to be. And apparently you want it to be very real. Needles?
Wait, well, I don't understand. Are you saying I've got something to do with all this death and destruction?
The world is as you see it. Your mind is a powerful thing, Mr. Kane.
Stop it! You're confusing me! Enough of this! I wish this nightmare would end once and for all!
There are some wishes even I can't grant completely, Needles. But I'll do what I can for now.
What did he call me? I never did like this place.
The mystery of Marcus and Needles was quickly unraveling, and it comes to a conclusion when unlocking Darktooth and its drivers in Head On. Marcus finally accepts that Needles is the other half of his identity, and they fuse into a new being with the mind and intellect of Marcus and the insanity and power of Needles' Kane. Together in mind and body, the two became the drivers of Darktooth and Towertooth.
Where am I?
How did I get back here? This looks like
a nightmare. I've seen this monster before.
In my own reflection.
Who are you?
Oh, come on. Don't be naive.
Don't you drive Sweet Tooth?
I'm a little bit more than that. I'm you moron.
I don't know why, but I believe you.
Hey, have I ever lied to me?
Is this a dream? It feels like a dream. It feels like I've been here before.
I have. We have. Whatever.
What is this place? Why are we here? What is that thing?
Too many questions. I think the best thing to do is climb inside and look around.
Twisted Metal 3 is mostly a standalone game, not really connected to the others. In this version, Sweet Tooth is a hidden character, driving his ice cream truck with a flaming head as a special weapon. In the final battle, Calypso summons another demonic minion known for tormenting souls, Primeval. After Primeval's defeat, Twisted Metal 3 continues the tradition of having some of the worst endings in the entire series. Sweet Tooth wishes for all the candy and ice cream he wants and ends up in a dental nightmare.
So, Sweet Tooth, your wish is to eat all the candy and ice cream you want? Your wish is granted. You should have brushed between snacks. I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal.
Marcus Kane, on the other hand, mostly loses his strong connections to Needles' Kane. Instead of being the split personality of Sweet Tooth, he goes back to his roots as a crazy homeless man that suffers from schizophrenia. He believes he's channeling a transmission from an alien mothership located in Area 51, and in his ending, he wishes to live in peace, isolated, among the pines.
Roadkill, you wish for solitude among the pines, away from the crazy world I've turned this planet into? Your wish is granted. So now you're alone among the pines. Whispering pines. I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal.
In Twisted Metal 4, another standalone contest, the only Kane to return is Needles Kane, in Sweet Tooth. This story rewrites the history of Twisted Metal as a carnival of destruction that would travel from town to town since the old Western days. He entered and he fought his way into making his dreams come true. Sweet Tooth witnessed the destruction as a child and he was mesmerized by the tournament. He dreamed of one day taking it over.
My master also tells me he did not start life out as a clown. He was once a boy. A boy who dreamt of fire, destruction, and twisted metal! Word of the deadly traveling show spread like the plague. Great was my master's skill in battle. But in the collection of souls, he was but a pawn. Turn into months, months into years. Desire turns into envy, and envy turns into a plan. Calypso's time as the carnival's master of ceremonies came to an end. My master was ready to take his rightful place, seated at the throne of the Twisted Metal Empire!
Twisted Metal belonged to Sweet Tooth now, and he gathered an army of midget clowns to enforce his rule over the contest. Just like Calypso, he gained the power to grant wishes, and he served as the final contestant to be taken down. Sweet Tooth is unlockable as a playable character, although he runs this tournament, and he has no real character ending, just a generic ending congratulating you as the driver. During the events of Twisted Metal's Small Brawl, Calypso's a neighborhood bully, promising to grant wishes while running a contest with RC cars. In this universe, Sweet Tooth isn't the serial killer clown with a split personality. He's the most mischievous kid in the neighborhood, and he only wishes for some ice cream. His RC car is an ice cream truck branded with the name Tasty Treats Ice Cream Truck, and it fires frozen treats. In the final battle, Piecemeal, a vehicle constructed from the remains of many other destroyed RC cars, stands between Sweet Tooth and his wish, but instead of ice cream, he decides to take Calypso for a ride.
Anything you wanted, and all you could think of is a little ice cream? Let me down! Stop the car! Look out for the old lady!
Twisted Metal Black created the definitive version of Sweet Tooth that solidifies him as a terrifying video game villain.
3 months in the nut house. It was the longest I'd ever been confined. So a few people had been killed. It wasn't my fault.
Please, no, I got a family.
Shut up and bleed, you motherfucker.
Black is yet another standalone universe. This time the story hints that it's all happening within an alternate reality where the Twisted Metal contestants are stuck inside the broken mind of Sweet Tooth. The entire world of Black and everything happening inside of it colors the world as Sweet Tooth sees and experiences it. And Calypso once again promises to grant any wish and recruits his drivers from Blackfield Asylum. In the world of Black, Sweet Tooth is a notorious serial killer known as the Ice Cream Truck Killer. One of the most savage killers of all time, using his ice cream truck to lure victims. He gathered over 23 victims under his belt before he butchered an entire supermarket. The only thing he wished for was to cure himself of the curse that set the top of his head on fire, causing him constant and excruciating pain. After battling against Minion and his transforming ice cream truck, the explosion from the battle knocked Sweet Tooth unconscious, and he remembered the evening that caused his turmoil.
I was out like the dying heartbeat of a little girl. It was the first time in forever I hadn't felt the burning and the dreams. Boys and girls, those were some wonderful dreams. All my greatest achievements flashed before my eyes. The scale of what I'd done, the sheer volume of people I'd killed, it was breathtaking. But like all good things, it had to end sometime. When they captured me, the only thing I could think was, what a waste. All those people I hadn't killed yet. Come the night of my execution, there must have been over 1,000 people gathered outside to watch me fry. I was upset about that. There should have been more. I remember there was this preacher in the observation room. I figured he was just some Bible thumper wanting to save my soul. But as it turned out, the old man had something else in mind. As I fried, he started screaming out like the freak he was. He asked God to curse me, to burden me forever in the flames of hell. It took me less than a minute to kill 3 police officers and get my mask back on. I never used to believe in curses, but it's been 3 months since that night, and the pain gets worse every day. So let me tell you something, boys and girls. I sure as hell believe in curses now.
After his failed execution, Sweet Tooth was taken and locked away inside Blackfield Asylum until Calypso's visit. During the Twisted Metal contest, he saw the preacher that cursed him. Sweet Tooth was in a rage. He wanted to slaughter him. In the final battle of Twisted Metal, the local Midtown City Police took a stand against Calypso's contest and sent a special military chopper, the Warhawk, to end it. After Sweet Tooth took the Warhawk down, he was faced with an easy choice.
The contest was over, so I went and saw Calypso. I asked him to make good on his promise, to bring an end to all the pain, to take away my curse. He offered me a vial. He said inside it held the blood of a man who'd cursed me on the night of my execution. He told me if I drank it, my curse would be over. But he also said, if I ever returned to my killing ways, the antidote would wear off, and the curse would come back to haunt me. I had to decide. It took me all of 10 seconds. Let's face it, boys and girls, a man has to have his priorities. I killed Calypso about as well as I ever killed anyone. Now that I'm free, I'm going to be the greatest of all time.
Sweet Tooth continued his killing ways and decided that the cost was worth it. He would live with his head on fire. Sweet Tooth was determined to become the greatest killer of all time. In the cancelled sequel to Black, Twisted Metal Harbor City, Sweet Tooth would have continued his rampage, stalking his victims one by one without hesitation.
Johnny!
What have you done with my son? I said, what have you done with him? Dad? Are you awake? Dad, it's time to get up.
Marcus Kane, previously known as the split personality of Needles Kane and a homeless man suffering from schizophrenia, didn't make it into the insane world of Black as he was. This time Marcus Kane was the real identity of Minion, instead of Minion being a demonic entity. He's a playable hidden character, but he has no actual ending. He acts as a mid-game boss driving a heavily armored tanker truck, equipped with a devastating flamethrower. This Marcus Kane wears a bloody bullhead over his own and speaks in code, but when the code is deciphered, it reveals a terrifying truth. Marcus Kane is the only driver aware that this contest is taking place within the mind of Sweet Tooth, and they're all trapped within his psyche, but he keeps the secret out of fear of what Sweet Tooth would do to him if he's discovered. Charlie Kane returns for Twisted Metal Black. In a previous universe, he was the taxi driver trying to discover what happened to his son Sweet Tooth. This time he retains his taxi driver roots and his father-son relationship with Sweet Tooth, but he did have another unnamed son, Sweet Tooth's younger brother, that was forced to witness a tragedy.
My dad drove this cab. He used to take me with him sometimes. I have a brother, but my dad won't let me talk about him. He says my brother became really, really bad when he started driving this ice cream truck. Me and my dad, we were like best friends. But one night, there was this passenger. He had this gun. He killed my dad and then ran. I just sat there while my dad died. But then, I had this idea. I was able to put together this controller. It made my dad alive again. I control him now. People think it's weird. They don't like it. They want to put me in a home and bury my dad. But I don't want him to leave me. I don't want to be alone. That's why I entered this contest. When I win this game, Calypso promises he'll make everything all better.
Charlie Kane was dead, and his son was traumatized by his father's death. Couldn't move on, and instead resurrected him with a remote control to force his movements, as a lifeless corpse. Together they entered Calypso's contest in the hopes that Calypso would bring his father back to him. Charlie Kane and son drove the Yellow Jacket, the same taxi cab that his father drove and was murdered in. It was armed with stingers, explosive tipped spikes that could launch from the vehicle or dig deep into other vehicles' metal hulls. As he fought his way through the tournament, Charlie's son dreamed of the day that he didn't have to worry about his father being taken away from him. They could be together forever. And he also knew that his brother Sweet Tooth was in the tournament. He was taught to fear him, to stay away from the evil clown. Instead, Charlie felt an odd connection to his brother. After winning Twisted Metal, Charlie Kane's son was chosen for a future role and was forced to let go of his father.
I had won the contest. I went to Calypso and asked for my prize. He promised that he'd make everything all better. It was a trick. He destroyed my controller. It killed my dad. I begged my dad to come back. I even tried to put the controller back together. But Calypso wouldn't let me. He said things, in time, would be all better. He said he needed someone to train to take over his contest when he died. He said my brother would have been the perfect choice, but since I killed him, I was the next best thing. He said it was in my blood.
In the unfinished Twisted Metal Harbor City, Charlie Kane's son was set to find and stop Sweet Tooth, and then himself in order to end the Kane bloodline. But the roles would all be changed again in the most recent 2012's Twisted Metal. Sweet Tooth was still a large murderous clown, killing his victims and dumping them on the side of the road. He reveled in his bloodlust, and was excited for this year's Twisted Metal contest. He only dreamed of getting the one that got away. Sweet Tooth began life as Marcus Kane, an ordinary family man that loved his wife and 4 children. But underneath the facade, the mask of a perfect family man, he was suffering from a lifelong struggle. Deep inside, an intense evil was clawing its way out, screaming to take over Marcus's life. His inner voice hated his life, hated his job, hated his family. And one day, the personality of Needles Kane won.
Oh, that name. How I hated that name. It reminded me of how I hated him. How I hated being him. His stupid little life. That stupid little job. It took me years of screaming and clawing and breaking him down. Years of calling out to him, trying to get him to set me free. But he was such a coward. Then one night it happened. One night I called. And he answered. And after I got him to carve me, I killed him. For my first murders, I chose the perfect targets. The perfect family. I chose his family.
Marcus, no!
Marcus doesn't live here anymore.
Please, no! Marcus, wait!
Shut up and bleed, you motherfucker! She didn't make it easy. I had saved her for last. And I toyed with her. I teased her. Oh, she was delightful. But she was a fighter. That stupid bitch. She actually hurt me. That's how she managed to escape.
His daughter Sophie Kane was a fighter. She survived. Her survival drove Sweet Tooth mad. She was the only victim to ever escape him, and she made him lose an eye. He had a burning fury inside, an obsession to find and kill his daughter, Marcus's daughter. He tracked her down to a local hospital where he believed she was being treated, but she wasn't there. Instead, he decided to take his rage out on everyone inside. Sweet Tooth was filled with glee to find so many victims.
It was like Christmas morning. Every hallway filled with little gifts. Little, tiny, blood-filled gifts. So many of them tried to fight. I think they wanted to make it fun for me. I think they were happy for me. Looking back, I'm so glad I decided to take the stairs. Her sweet stench lingered in the hall, but I had just missed her. Where did she go?
In a desperate attempt to find Sophie, Sweet Tooth entered Calypso's contest with a gang of his own clowns. In the final battle, he faced off against the brothers Grimm, two enormous monster trucks commanded by Mr. Grimm and his gang, the Skulls. After destroying the brothers Grimm, Sweet Tooth finally discovered the location of his daughter.
If they kill you, next year, one of them gets to enter my contest. So as you can imagine, they're motivated.
Boss, this don't look good.
They're just men, just people. And I've killed plenty of people.
Screw this clown! Weapons ain't cutting through that, boss.
Interesting. It's like a little shell for them to hide in.
Come on, boss. Keep me under this bitch just a little longer. Ah!
It was fun to watch them die that way. But now, tonight, it all comes to an end. I had killed almost everyone. But she was still out there. And Calypso knew where she was hiding. For my prize, I told Calypso to send me where she'd been all these years. Oh, tonight, I'd finally get to cut her.
Take me to her now!
Your wish is granted.
Calypso. Calypso. Where's my god-damned prize?
Look around, Sweet Tooth. You've been given your prize. That night, when she first encountered you, she was so traumatized. She was so damaged. The hospital just wasn't really working for her. So she checked herself out and made other arrangements. She's been dead for 10 years.
You can't kill me. You can't kill me. You can't ever kill me. I'll find you, Calypso. I'll fucking find you and fucking kill you. You will kill Sweet Tooth. I will fucking cut your insides out. You will fear me, you motherfucker. Fear me.
This was the final appearance of Sweet Tooth in the Twisted Metal series as of now, left to suffocate and die with the corpse of Sophie Kane underground. But this wouldn't be the end of the Kane bloodline. It was in fact the beginning of a new generation. On the night of the Kane family murders, Sophie wasn't the only survivor. In this universe, Charlie Kane was the eldest son of Sweet Tooth, and he witnessed the murder of his family and his sister's escape. He believed that his father knew he was alive and allowed him to live. Charlie adored his father and saw his survival as a sign that his father wanted him to continue his work if anything happened to him. When Charlie learned what happened to Sweet Tooth, he found his grave and claimed his inheritance.
My father was my hero. And Calypso killed him. Soon, I'll be strong enough to return the favor.
Calypso, however, wasn't finished with the Kane bloodline. Calypso was a granter of dreams, but he found pleasure in finding ways to turn the desires of his contestants against them. The tragic life of Sophie Kane, a young woman traumatized by years of running from a murderous father, was cut way too short. Calypso wouldn't let her be wasted. She was too good an opportunity to bring chaos upon the world.
All that fight, all that rage you have inside, you could bring the world so much pain. I just can't let that go to waste. You understand, yes? I had this made just for you. Take your time. The trip back, it can be a bit unnerving. Welcome back. Welcome back, Sophie. Kane. Are you ready to play?
And that is the history of Twisted Metal and the Kanes. Leave me a like and share with your friends, and let me know which one of the endings and storylines presented in this video is your favorite one.